Welcome to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa, the mother-daughter travel team and publishers of Big Blend magazines. You just heard So Far Gone from the Neal-Morse-Band's 2-CD, 2-DVD set called the Similitude of a Dream, and was actually recorded live in Tilburg, Netherlands in 2017, and it is absolutely 100% and more epic. This is something,
awesome.
It is mind-blowing watching it, listening to it. It's like this, just this huge entire rock opera that will move you totally, as you could hear there. It is available now on Radiant Records, so you can go to radiantrecords.com. But we're really excited to have multi-instrumentalist and progressive rock composer and singer Neal Morse with us today, and I encourage you to go to his website because he's got a lot going on, a lot of recordings and touring coming up. Go to neal-morse-band.com, and that's Neal is N-E-A-L, just proving I can spell. Neal, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, doing good. Welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here. Nancy and I could not believe what we were watching. We're just, I said, hey, Nancy, you got to come see this. She's like, no, I'm about to go do this. I'm like, no, you need to come sit down and see this. And then we didn't leave. And we're like, whoa, dude, how are you doing this? I mean, you guys have just the talent between you all and the tightness of the band.
It's amazing.
I have never seen anything like that. I mean, it's epic.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Still on a high.
Yeah, it is. It is an amazing band. I could go on about each guy. Of course, Mike Portnoy on the drums.
Wow.
He's one of the best drummers in the world, arguably, and a great arranger and producer. Also, he was so instrumental in putting the album together. And Eric-Gillette, our young guitar hero star. And also great singer, bill-hubauer on keyboards, just tearing it up, and also singing amazingly.
Wow.
What happened was many years ago now, I don't know how many years ago, but quite a few years ago, I wanted to put together a band that was because I was traveling around, and sometimes I'd have one band in Europe, and I'd have another band in America. And a lot of times to cover all the parts on the album, we'd have 6 or 7 people, to do all the vocals and all the percussion and all, just all the stuff. And I wanted to put together a band that, just really could do it all. And so Randy George on bass, we started working together around 2005, I think it was. And so he's been with me for a while. And, of course, he's an amazing talent and a great producer and arranger himself. But when we found Bill and Eric and this 5-piece band, the Neal Morse Band, it's pretty astounding. And one thing I discovered on the Similitude tour was that the piece itself really delivered every night. It's so important. The actual, of course, this is obvious, but it's so important to be playing a piece of music that not only does it touch your heart, but it touches everyone's hearts, like the whole place, every night. And it's kind of like we just needed to go out there and play this music and sing it the best we could, and God did the rest, and it was just amazing.
Well, what I thought was amazing was watching you perform. I mean, you're not even looking at music. Like, you guys know it. You're living and breathing it, and it's like you're in that zone. The audience is totally just enthralled and just like really attached to every note. But what was amazing is the energy, and I think what when you listen to live albums, I love live albums because it's just so much. It's so real. I'm not saying studio albums aren't good. There's just this extra energy. But for something of this magnitude to be recorded so well, I think is really, that, again, it's epic. I'm just going to call it the Epic Album Collection here.
Thank you. Well, we do a lot, and we spend a lot. I'm actually, the head of the label also, Radiant Records. And so, I have a lot of choices to make about whether we want to go the extra mile to make it, this quality. So, we all spent a lot of attention to detail, making sure that the lighting and it just everything. We were really going for excellence here, so I'm glad to hear that.
This morning, listening it and not actually watching the video, we watched that yesterday, and a couple times.
I know.
But now I have a whole new video in my mind from this. You know, I would totally go with like all the destruction that we've done to the earth for most of the song, and then when the song gets lighter, I would have rainbows and people cleaning up and planting plants.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I saw in my mind.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well,
I'll pass that along to the video guy. Well, that was another thing. We got Christian Rios to do the video that goes behind us during the concert, and that was he's amazing, amazingly creative, and I thought it was beautiful the things that he did that really added to the concert, and of course when we're playing in Tilburg there, that's about some 30 shows in, so we've played this album, you know, by that time, so we really got it in our hands, and when something's like with a piece like that, that's good. Like you don't get bored. You know, sometimes you can get bored playing stuff if you play it too much. It's like, oh man, here we go playing this again. It never felt that way with Similitude. It was good to have it firmly in our hands and have the words be just coming out of our mouths. And you know, at the beginning of a tour, of course, you're still finding your legs, you know. But by the time we hit Tilburg, man, we were in stride.
Yeah, and Similitude, I don't even know if I said that right at the beginning. I never get things right. You know, that's why we do radio, so I just make my own words up. But the Similitude of a Dream, the whole concept to me, just felt like this journey that people take. And I think Nancy goes, you know, on the natural world too. There's always some kind of struggle, and you go back and forth until it. Like that's why I love Freedom Song. There's always this like, okay, we have that moment of like, okay, we can see like the light, and we can do, you know, we can move forward. But to me, there's this interesting, you're like moving forward towards more positive light and life, you know.
Sure, yeah.
It's like it's going through the struggle.
That's the journey, you know. That's the journey the main character's on, you know, essentially from the city of destruction to the city of light.
Yeah, yeah, and you feel it, you know. It's like you really feel it, and I think that's very important for now because I think the world is not just our country, but the world, and you know from touring so much that I think people need to know. You have to identify the struggle. We can't ignore it, and to be able to identify it and feel it, and in a unity kind of like a unified way. I think that's the other part of this live feeling. That energy is that you don't feel alone in the struggles. And that there is a positive outcome. It is possible to have positivity and to move forward. And, you just have to keep going through that it is a journey. And I think the energy of this made it feel very collective.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, my hope that wherever people are on their journey, they'll recognize that there's a next step. Mm-hmm. You know, when you're, you know, the moments when he's really you know, in a terrible place. Like this was all taken from an old book called Pilgrim's Progress. A lot of it was inspired by that. And, you know, so the guy goes through places like the Valley of Humiliation, you know, the Castle of Despair and things like that. Of course, I didn't talk about the Castle of Despair, but you get the idea that you know, just because you might find yourself there for a season, keep going and you'll get out. Yeah.
So this tour that you were on, Road Called Home tour, so you were just saying this is the 30th, you know, performance. So where did you go?
Oh, we went all over. It was the first time for me that we did a second run in the U.S. and Canada. I hadn't done that before. I usually had just done one run, and that was enough. But there was an agent that said, hey, we can work some of these other markets. And we even played New York twice. We played New York again, and that was great. And so we played all over the U.S., and then we played all over Europe. And we played on Cruise to the Edge, the Yes Cruise. So we got around.
Cool.
We did 50 shows.
Do you like to travel? Do you like traveling? Do you like to travel?
I like traveling in small doses. I like traveling. I like the way we did this. because we did the U.S. for 2.5 weeks, and then we were home, and I said I wanted March off because that's when my kids have spring break. And so then I believe we did Europe in April and early May, and then we were off, and then we went to South America in June.
Cool.
So we did like 5 shows in South America, and then we did the second run in August, and then did Morse Fest, which is a festival I have here in Nashville. That was the last performance of this album, and we did it with horns and strings and choir. And
Ooh, nice. Wow, yeah, choir. I could imagine that. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, big extravaganza. And anyway, so it was nice to have the rest in between. But it's great when you have a good crew and a good band, and you know, you work it out so you're not doing too much crazy traveling, you know. The bus is great because if you wake up and you're already there and the weather's nice, you just kind of go for a walk. You have till 4 o'clock till sound check, you know. And some of the cities where it was really nice. I had a great time, actually.
That's really nice,
cool.
you know. And you know, the whole part of it, when you tour and you travel around, you get to see things. Does that ever inspire your writing? Because I mean, just even there's the music, the musicality, and the melodies, and just how I think you've packed every genre of music into there, and things that, you know, there's some Beatle vibes and Pink Floyd vibes and little vibes here and there of things, and yet it's like this is something brand new, and I love that, you know. So there's a comfort to it, but then it's like, ooh, there's something new to hear, and yet the lyrics are very, very strong. So when you travel, does any of that ever, like going for walks? We're big advocates of getting people outside and walking, because I think there's a meditative quality to it, an observance that you foster, and it's just good for you. Does any of that inspire your writing?
Oh, totally. If you check out the Life and Times album, the album I recorded, you know, kind of in the middle of that, I actually did the sessions. The first sessions for that album were done in July. So it was before the August and September Similitude concerts. And then I worked on this album, Life and Times, in October and November. And it's half or more of the songs are songs that I wrote while I was on the Similitude tour about places that I just, you know, where I was and what I was feeling. And there's a song called Manchester that's kind of a little bit lighthearted. And then there's some heavier things that were going on, So the answer is yes. I do get inspired when I'm walking around those towns.
Yeah, there is something about, you know, walking and creativity. It opens your mind. I think something happens when we do that. So now the vocals. Your voice is incredible, and definitely, you know, Bill, my gosh, everybody's got great vocals. Even when we were watching, it was like, this is incredible. Do you do anything when you're doing this kind of such an, again, epic, you know, production, and there's like no stopping, you guys are just going. How do you keep your vocals strong, especially when you tour?
Well, I do warm-ups and things, but wow, I thought all of our voices held up because we were sharing the vocals so much. I didn't get burned out. Almost every time I do a tour when I'm singing most of it, almost every tour, there's some shows where I'm really struggling vocally. And, you know, I need a day off, basically.
Yeah.
But this time, man, we could do 5 or 6 shows in a row, and I remember saying to the guys, wow, this is amazing how good our voices are holding up. I have to think it was the sharing factor.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're always stronger when we share.
Yeah.
You know, it is
right.
true. That is really, really
Indeed.
true. So tell us about Freedom Song, because I really wanted to play this because there was just this, I don't know, it felt freeing. You know, it's just this beautiful, I feel like I'm walking on the beach.
Oh, cool. Well, this is the point in the story. I thought it was very interesting that even in the book, even as this guy is going on and, you know, going through some really good spiritual high points, he still has this pack on his back. And so as we were working on the second disc, I remember it was in the morning during the sessions that I wrote Freedom Song, and presented it to the guys, and even sent the vocal parts via voice memo to Eric and Bill so we could kind of sing it in the room and see how it felt. And I felt like we needed kind of a light song. There was so much heaviness between Man in the Iron Cage and Mask, you know, and a lot. I thought, man, we need something that's talking about him getting set free and getting this pack off of his back. So that was the inspiration for the song.
Oh, let's play it now, everybody, so you can have a listen to it. Again, Freedom Song, and you can get it now. It's a 2 CD, 2 DVD set, The Similitude of a Dream, live in Tilburg-Netherlands. And so, again, radiantrecords.com or go to neal-morse-band.com. Here it is, Freedom Song.
1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to the downbeat, I see.
You're listening to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa, and you just heard Freedom Song, and it is on the 2 CD, 2 DVD set, The Similitude of a Dream, live in Tilburg, Netherlands. And again, that was the neal-morse-band, and we're happy to have Neal with us. And go get it. Go to radiantrecords.com and see. I love that guitar and that harmony, and I do feel like it's the beach, but it's not the. It's like the English side, or Scotland. I want those big cliffs of Dover. That's what it feels like, Neal. Because it's got to have that drama, and then then you can have your rainbows too. Maybe it's Hawaii.
Right.
Well, with lava right now, maybe not. But I like your album. Radiant Records. That's a good album name. I like that. That's positive. Radiant Records, everybody. That's a good name. And so, did you always have your own album company, your own label?
I started it a long time ago. What happened was when Spock's Beard first began, I think I started Radiant on the third Spock's Beard record. What happened was I was talking to the people that were selling it at the time, and I think I said, "Hey, if I press these up, would you buy them from me?" And they said, "Sure." And so it was kind of a no-brainer at that time, because most of what was happening in the progressive rock world for us was all in mail order at that time. So it wasn't a tremendous investment and all that. And then when Spock's got bigger and Transatlantic began to go, then I asked Metal Blade if they would distribute for Radiant, and that's how then it all took off from there.
It's interesting because you're saying the mail order, and I got to look back to the days of Frank Zappa. I mean, he really got into doing it himself. He had like his own cottage industry going, and just kind of like changed the tune. I think he was one of the pioneers in that of we can take it over ourselves.
Well, a lot of people did that. Frank Sinatra did that with Reprise Records. He started Reprise like in the late 50s, early 60s, because he didn't like to be dictated to by the labels.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have done it over time. It just it makes more sense if you in certain situations. It just depends on who you are and what your situation is. But for us, it made total sense.
And for you too, I mean, as an artist, you also decided to change paths a bit and go exactly with your core of what your true beliefs and what you were feeling. And I think sometimes for artists, that's this choice you have to make, which is sometimes very difficult. But I don't think you're happy unless you do that and hold strong to your values, right? And it's a hard thing to do.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to follow. Yeah, definitely follow your heart and what you really want to say. I mean, if you're writing music and you're writing lyrics, it's really needs to flow from your heart. And sometimes what comes out of your heart is not necessarily what everybody wants to hear. And then that's when you can have some conflicts there. But I've found that when I just wrote exactly what I felt to write, that's when things have turned out. I think people can sense, even if maybe sometimes the message isn't everything that they agree with or want to hear, they can hear the inspiration, they can hear the passion, and they can still be touched by it. And that's what I'm looking for, is really the anointing of God in everything that I'm doing. I'm looking for that, something that's special and that's unique and that's different than that's more than just good music and a good message. There's something more, and that people are impacted on a really deep level. And we've seen that happen with Similitude night after night.
That's awesome. Because I don't think it matters what your beliefs are when you listen to your music. I didn't feel that at all. To me, it was just very uplifting. And I don't take it as though you must believe in this religion or that religion at all. I just felt like it was very unifying and very uplifting and very positive that, I think, like I said earlier, we need it. We really do need something bigger than ourselves.
Sure, yeah.
To move forward.
Well, good. I'm glad you felt that.
Yeah, because I don't want it to all be mine and me, and I'm responsible for
me,
everything.
myself, and I.
No.
Ew. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And that's interesting, too, taking that approach in prog rock. Where do you think prog rock is today compared to like 10, 15, 20 years ago? Do you think it's getting bigger?
I don't know, actually. I don't spend that much time in the business end.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of only do the business, as much of the business end as I need to. You know, so I'm not sure as far as, you know, numbers go. I know that we're growing every season, and I'm really super thankful for that. I'm not sure, you know, on the grand scale of things. I'd love to see more really inspired young musicians coming around. I know that they are. I'd love to see them get more exposure. And I think what moves of music, that's what I think of them as, is like, you know, the move of the original progressive rock era from like 1970 to 1975, for example, where there's just all kinds of really high quality killer albums coming out, you know, mostly from England, in the progressive rock genre during that time. There's just these certain moves that happen, and I think Spock's kind of was involved in one at the end of the 90s, Spock's and Flower Kings, and there were some other groups that, you know, coming out at that time, and there was a kind of resurgence, and I'd love to see more of that. I mean, that's just great.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel a difference when you're performing live, especially in other countries? Do you feel a difference in each audience as to how they accept your songs?
Oh, well, a lot of times it's just cultural. I mean, it's hilarious. Like, especially in Europe, it's such a marked difference between, like, you'll play in Milan, and then you'll drive, I don't know, maybe 6 hours to Switzerland. And Milan, Roy Stolt from you know, Flower Kings and Transatlantic, he calls the South American and the Italian and Spanish audiences soccer audiences.
Yeah.
You know, they're so loud. Like you'll go up and to play, they're singing like the lines that I play on keyboards. They're singing it really loud. It's like a bunch of men going, and it's a lot of fun. It's really fun. But the Swiss are listeners. They're much quieter. They're just a different audience. It doesn't mean that sometimes you can think as a performer, oh, they don't like it as well, but I do not think that's the case. They're just, you know, it's a quieter culture.
Yeah.
And you just have to kind of know that.
Yeah, you know, we were interviewing someone who was saying that, I think it was Andy from Wishbone Ash. And,
Wishbone Ash. Oh, I love those guys.
Yeah, he's really cool. And we were talking about travels and world travels because we've all traveled so much. And I think it was Spain or Portugal. He said he was, you know, going out to watch live music in like little small bar areas and pubs, and he said people don't talk to each other there. They sing the lyrics to each other when they're watching a band. Like if you're sitting at a table, you know, on a date or something, they'll start singing the lyrics to each other. It's like, that's amazing. I mean, how cool is that? I don't know. I'd get the giggles.
That is funny.
I'd get the giggles.
Yeah,
but
me too.
The other thing too, when you said you're going to South America and you know you went out there, that's the other thing. You know, this has become a running conversation. I think with almost every musician on our show lately is that South America, Argentina, that seems to be a big hot spot for musicians to go and travel to. Whereas I don't remember that happening. You know, like I would say even 7-8 years ago, I didn't hear that much about musicians going there. So I don't know what's going on.
Well, I don't know. You know, I've just started going there since, of course, Mike Portnoy. He's been going there for ages. You know, but I have not. I think the first time I played there was with Transatlantic, maybe in 2013 or something like that. And now we've been going I've been going almost every year, I think. I've been 3 or 4 times now. And, they're great. The audiences are great. Love it.
Yeah, we've also heard from musicians outside this country who have told us that it is extremely hard to arrange a tour for them to come over here. That it is just really, really, it takes years sometimes to be able to get into this country and play. So I think it's kind of really shifted from what it used to be.
Yeah, well, times are different, and you've got to try to roll with it. It depends on a lot of it's about getting into it, getting in a scene where there is a marketplace, there is a group of people that are into this music that'll market to their people. That's what the promoters are really. And there's certain pockets of prog enthusiasts, like Quebec City, Canada is a big prog town.
Wow.
I had one of my best Life and Times concerts there, and there's guys there that are that what they're about is fanning that flame and keeping that alive. And
that's awesome.
It's a really important thing to have people on the ground doing that.
I agree. Now, is there a place that you have not played that you want to go and perform in?
Oh, well, there must be many, actually. I've never played in Vancouver. I'd love to go to Vancouver.
We've just done a whole bunch of travel coverage on that, and I think you should go because it sounds really beautiful.
Yeah, I'd love to go. I'd love to go. There's a lot of places I'd love to go. I haven't played in Russia. I've played in Israel, but I haven't played anywhere in Africa. I'd love to play in South Africa.
You need to do South Africa. That's where we used to live.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Oh, they would love your music. They would love your music. I think
you would get an audience response.
You'd get a big audience response. I'd want to go. I want to go just to watch that too. No, I think you would do incredibly well. You could do a whole South African tour. You really could. And I think it was interesting because when you started singing, you reminded me a bit of Johnny Clegg. It was the first thing I said. I was like, oh my gosh, it's
the energy
and the energy. And even when you were playing the guitar part on Freedom Song reminded me of that. And I think Johnny Clegg again is just one of those musicians, and our good friend played sax for him for many years, and unfortunately he's obviously retired now for medical reasons. But he just has this positivity that he went through so much to unify different cultures in a very diverse society that no one can really put their finger on everybody's drama there, and he just turned it around to acceptance and working together, and just kept positive with his music and toured the world with it. But you guys have like a similarity in that because of the vibe, the energy, that positive energy. But you kind of
tightness.
Yeah, and you kind of look like him too.
That's funny.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you know his music, but look up Johnny Clegg.
Wow.
Okay, I'll look him up.
Yeah, it's South African, and what he did is he was, I think, the first white guy to play with African musicians, and really stood up for them against apartheid and all of that, and just an incredible human being. So yeah, check him out because, I mean, obviously two different countries, two different styles of music, but you'll find that positive vibe that I'm talking about with his music.
But come
cool.
on our show and we'll tell you who you look like.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, he's Johnny Clegg, but as soon as you started singing, I was like, oh my gosh, because it's just really special for all of us knowing that he's going to not be performing anymore. So I think you should go. I think you should go to South Africa for sure.
Okay, well, we'll pray for it.
I've got the jet ready. It's ready to take you right now. So I know we're going to play Broken Sky, Long Day. Woo. So tell us about that.
Well, that is, it's the big finish of the album. I had actually written the Long Day bit as the end of a couple of years ago. Somebody asked me to write some demos for Kansas. Kansas was making a new album at the time, and there was a consideration that they might. I never heard from them personally. It was somebody else that said, hey, Kansas, I might be looking for some demos. If you feel inspired, write some stuff for them, and I'll get it to them. And so Long Day was part of that, part of these Kansas demos, which also had a few of the main themes from Similitude were also lifted from those Kansas demos. So I was so glad that the Neal-Morse-Band fell in love with that Long Day theme, and that they wanted to close the album with it, because to me that was just such an uplift, and the way Eric sings it, and holds that high note at the end, and then we come in with the theme, and it's just glorious, absolutely glorious piece, and so I hope you guys enjoy it.
No, I know we do, and I know our audiences for sure will enjoy this. Again, everybody, the Similitude of a Dream live in Tilburg, Netherlands. The 2017, it's a 2-CD, 2-DVD set, again, out on Radiant Records, so go to radiantrecords.com.
Also a Blu-ray.
And Blu-ray, yep, absolutely.
Yes.
So go there and also follow up with Neal. Go to the neal-morse-band.com. And so just in closing here, you're going to be touring, right, this summer?
Yeah, I'm doing some more Life and Times solo acoustic gigs. I'm doing some looping and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and kind of intimate acoustic shows, and they're really different and unique and really cool. So yeah, that'll be in Europe actually. I start June 5th, I think, in Stockholm, and then wind up in London, and I'll be in Germany and Holland and Italy and Switzerland and lots of different places in a very short period of time. So yeah, come out and see a Life and Times show. You'll be glad you did it. They're really good.
Awesome. Well, we're so glad you joined us. Thank you so much for taking time out with us, and I want to thank our listeners, too, for joining us as always. Big Blend Radio airs Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Fridays and Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. If you just go to Big Blend Radio, you'll get the upcoming schedule, and you can click through to all our different outlets where you can listen on demand or download it for whatever device you want to listen to. And before we go, we got to thank our sponsor, the National Parks Arts Foundation. They create unique artist and residence programs and park units within the National Park Service around the country. So you could go stay at the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, seriously, if you want. Or there's the Dry Tortugas out in in Florida on an island. There's all kinds of national park units. If you're an artist, musician, poet, writer, filmmaker, dancer, you get to spend an entire month in a national park and create. So, Neal, would you do that? Because I feel that you could do something like that.
I would love to do that. Are you kidding? When you said that, I'm like, national parks? I'm crazy about national parks. My whole family is.
You really should do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what. Well, go to nationalparksartsfoundation.org. How's that for doing an ad?
Yeah.
Because we have our own segment with them every month, and it's incredible the talent that comes in, and then their work ends up in the national park archives and libraries, and it's this whole experience that they create is unique. And Nancy and I, our other side, not only do we do Big Blend, our other side of our life is we're on a quest to visit every single national park unit in the country and in the USA territories, and that's our Parks and Travel magazine. So, yeah. So
wow. I'll definitely look into that. That sounds
park.
amazing.
Yeah. So
National Parks Art Foundation?
Arts with an S on the end.
Arts.
Yeah, National Park Arts Foundation.org, and they're avidly looking for more musicians to get into the parks and be part of it. And, yeah.
I think it would be awesome if you were able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, me too.
Because you get to do a concert and everything.
Yeah.
One musician,
really?
Hunter Nowak is this incredible classical pianist, and he does this thing where you can go out in a park and he gives you headsets, and you can listen as he performs live outside, and these headsets, he's playing it, and you can hear it as you're walking the pathways and going into the nature areas, and he writes the music according to the park. So you're walking the trails while he's doing his concert and listening through a headset. Isn't that a trip?
Man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a whole new Life and Times tour for you.
Yeah, totally. I want to do that for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's really cool. So,
awesome.
Yeah, everyone, nationalparksartsfoundation.org. But thanks so much, Neal. Have a wonderful tour over in Europe and continued success with what you're doing, because it's very positive and it totally rocks. So thank you so much for the music.
Well, thank you. Thanks for a great interview. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And here it is, everybody. Broken Sky, Long Day. And we'll see you again here on Big Blend Radio.
And I have been deceived. I have known depression. 1,000 nights I couldn't sleep, facing all my enemies. I was paralyzed with fear, but by following the question, and I'm not really clear. But it led me here, where I have seen and I have known, by setting down the road called home, the journey to be. Why not just disappear? And why all of these questions? Why doesn't God just make it clear? The rain becomes a river, the stream becomes a lake. Keep following the whisper, no matter what it takes. Setting down the road called to change everything I can. It now makes sense to me to be who I could not be, to love you so easily with your life inside of me. May the great adventure now begin.